So Terran versus Zerg, one of the historic matchups.
Very interesting build here with an armory follow-up. So looking to do a massive Hellbat attack to take.
Here are all the Hellbats. Bolt is hoping for nothing but links, but surprise, surprise, multiple roaches already rare. You don't want to mob your Ravages there, Snoot, but as long as Snoot micros his units, he should be able to clean this up. These Hellbats are doing a little too much though to these roaches.
That's really important to keep those roaches spread out. The Hellbats are moving in. All of the Queens are able to fire at once, so Queen does go down, but more Hellions, they rally across the map so quickly with these spawns. It's very difficult for Snoot to hold on. He's got 11 roaches on the way though.
He's going to be fine with the reinforcements.
Roaches and Ravagers should be able to do a tremendous amount of damage counterattacking against Polt's natural.
I think Bolt is in a world of trouble right now. I have no idea how he's supposed to stabilize over here. There is a layer tech, so there is a follow-up for Snoot, but this is a crazy amount of units. There is one bunker, but there are barely any bio units. It's important to maybe pick up that Marauder, and that's exactly what he does. Snoot is already doing so much.
This is not a Tasia build. He only has 2 command centers here. Every SCV that's lost significantly puts Bolt further behind. SCV's dying left and right, 19-20 down. And if that bunker goes down, the natural will be forfeit. I don't know what Bolt's supposed to do. He's got 2 tanks about to finish, but that's it.
I think this is going to be it. Snoot is looking incredibly good over here in game number 1. The Bolt not mining anymore at all. There is one tank here on the high ground, but can one tank really keep this many lings and roaches outside of the Terran main base?
Doesn't look like it. The lings and the roaches spill into Polt's main. The liquid player from Norway looking to take game number 1 here in the grand finals.
Perfect build by Snoot. Awesome call on the roaches.
GG! Snoot takes game number 1 against Polt.
Bolt is going to try to get this fourth base, and he will force a cancel.
That's a great pickoff. Getting the drone 2 prevents Snoot from taking that base.
Take a look at the units lost resource tab. I think that Snoot has lost, oh my god, yes.
A lot
Snoot has
more.
lost quite a bit more. And if he sandwiches this army, that could be good for Snoot, but he needs to keep the hatchery alive.
And the 4th base is taking so much damage. Polt knocks it down, and Snoot, capped at 200, is having a really rough time dealing with this.
Oh, I love this, man. He's going to come from all angles at once. This is really good.
Yeah, complete surround. All the tanks are shooting where the least amount of units are, so the Ravagers come up. He's throwing the bios, but no fungals on the medevacs means he can continue to reposition and run back. Reinforcements from Polt are also hitting from the south at the same time. The Queen's caught off creep. Is Snoot going to be able to hold his army up? He is dwindling in supply, but some of the medevacs still haven't dropped those siege tanks yet.
Yeah, the reinforcements have arrived for Polt, but a lot of the Marines are gone, though. All of those Queens being out of position did really hurt Snoot a lot, and his army is actually starting to look smaller and smaller. Polt will be forced to pick up a couple of these tanks. I do think he's going to be able to keep this fort base alive. I mean, Brutalist is just so incredibly hard to push into. Polt throws up his head. Whoa!
Nice fungal, catches the medevacs. 2-3 go down with the tanks in tow.
All right,
Snoot is pushing up with an army that is very powerful, but the Vikings...
No NTR?
There's nothing there except for the Infestors, and this isn't Wings of Liberty, Roddy.
Okay, I'm not sure about this move for Snoot because he has no anti-air.
He's going to try to move forward. The Biles do hit the army, but the Broodlords are being taken down by the Liberators and the Vikings pressing forward. There are 4 Broodlords left, just 3 now, and the army continues to advance. Snoot's forces are crumbling. Polt clears house and will strike back across the map. I don't know that Snoot has anything left to defend this with.
Polt is going to go forward one more time. Snoot is really hanging in there like a champ, but he knows he can defend this.
GG. Polt ties the series up 1-1.
But Snoot, you don't have to worry about any of that at all. What you have to worry about is bio units with Stim and Hellions, basically the exact same thing that Polt did roughly an hour and a half ago. Snoot is making 8 more drones, but I really hope after that he's going to stop with those drones, and he needs those roaches and lots of Ravages as well.
He needs non-stop roaches right now, Roddy.
So Snoot just needs to buy as much time as possible. He needs to squeeze out as many units as possible. He's making 5 Overlords. Obviously, he panicked a little bit there. Queens are off creep. This is going to be an incredibly difficult hold for Snoot.
And the Terran player has Stim and combat shields. Ravager shots are going to try to push this army back, but this is such a tough spot. Snoot is going to have to try to barely hold on. He's got 8 more roaches on the way, but these Marines are going to Stim right up the map. Bile does hit across the army, but there's just not that much here to actually fight against this. These roaches are going to finish up separated. They're going to start out divided, and then we'll end with Conquer.
88 supply against 60, and Snoot also has more workers, which means that he just doesn't really have any units to fight with whatsoever.
Yeah, all those workers, not enough. Just needed to read this one a little bit better. GG. Polt goes up 2-1. Reapers are units of momentum. If you lose your first one or one of your first 3, it's almost impossible to make it work. But if you kill a couple Lings, you pull your Reaper back and regenerate the health, and you move forward, you just repeat this process. And because Reapers are expensive, it takes so long to build, as long as you don't lose them, they are incredibly hard to stop as you get closer to 8 or 9 of them. Man, this is going to be really tricky. So Snoot already wants to move some Lings out. This is really strange because Paul has blocked off his natural with his 2 barracks and his depot. You're not.
Surround one.
I mean, part of the thought process behind this has to be, of course, grabbing any Reapers here are really nice, but these Lings will not win that fight. The whole point is pull these Reapers back.
Well, what about these Lings then, though? What about these Lings?
It's going to be hard to get this round, but if he can, he's got them on both sides. Those grenades are so good, but he gets all the Reapers.
Wow.
Snoot cleans up the majority of the forces. Just a handful of these Reapers left, and he's going to get just 1, 2 more. He gets both of them. A last one does pop out, but this is going to force Paul to sit back at home. The biggest mistake that Snoot could make is to be, you know, too greedy here, as we do see once again, Paul is not building a 3rd command center. He's on 5 racks on 2 bases with no gases on his natural. He wants to build Marines, Marauders, and with the lack of a factory, nothing else. Because the stim is going to come in. There's no medevacs to heal. He pushes back, kills the 3rd base. The bio is on the run, but you want to wait for that stim to wear off. The units cannot be healed.
Yep, will be one Pongo available anytime soon. A couple of these Ravagers are very exposed now. Snoot was in a phenomenal position, but he's taking a lot of damage, even though the HP of the army of Polt is dropping rapidly. Another stim goes down, but Snoot has lost most of his units.
I mean, he's got to pull everything if he wants to defend this. Their drones do come off of the line. These Marines and Marauders are very weak. The Roaches are going to come up. He's cleaning up a lot of this, but Polt has the supply lead, still building 7 Marines, 3 Marauders at a time, and laying waste to this Roach. But he's going to come up once again. I love this. Put the bios where the high ground vision is going to be obtained, and use that to bully these forces away. Paul can't micro, he can't kite this, and Snoot is pushing him back. He has the 1-1 for the Roach Ravager, which is also super important. Paul, realizing he can't win like this, does start the factory at last.
I mean, this is definitely a very tough game for Snoot. He had such a great start against all these Reapers.
Yeah, Polt's gonna go in for one more big stim on top of this army. The Roaches and the Ravagers doing everything that they can, but the Biles are not going to be enough. Polt has broken Snoot once again. GG, going 3-1 now.
All right, this is already getting interesting. This Overlord made his way past Polt's base. Everything looks standard, right? 1 Rex and then, you know, command center. But wait a minute, Nate. 2 more Rex go down immediately.
And it can actually work really well because Paul only has 4 of his Marines at the front. So these Marines should die very quickly. The most important thing is you got to keep the Ravager safe.
Surprise!
Yeah, and now the rest of the Marines die. It's like, I've been had. But the Marines step forward. They get the first Ravager. These Roaches are so tanky, though. And Snoot has so many of them. Pure Marines have a rough time with this. SCV's coming off the line, but we got Zerglings to help deal with those. At the same time, Snoot is breaking down the defense here of Paul. He's knocked down a lot of the natural economy. He has more Roaches he can fall back on as well, and he's completely destroyed the army of the Terran player.
Yep, this is already good enough for Snoot. He may not win the game. Whoa, were those rally points messed up? Because that's a whole lot of Marines. I mean, I know he has 7 Rexes, but still, Snoot went back to building Roaches after he squeezed out a few more drones, and he should be fine.
It's definitely because I think he might need to pull a few to help hold this off. He's got only 4 more in production. He really needs to just get his forces together. He's supply blocked. 2 Overlords are on the way, but Marines are already coming in, and he cannot afford to lose these Roaches. He needs to build up enough to shove the Marines back. Drones coming out the line. Paul getting some damage done. 3 workers picked off, going for Roach after Roach, 1 by 1. Paul's just going to go for it right now. He's got a massive army. Keep in mind, there's no 3rd base for Paul. Snoot has more money overall to work with if he can keep this fight going over a long period of time.
Whoa, that's a big stim, to say the least. Every single unit in the army there of Paul. He runs into a
stepping into the fire is Paul as Snoot steps forward. He's finally getting some good shots in on this army. Paul perhaps stepping forward a little bit too much, a little too zealous, but Snoot stepping into his own corrosive biles at the same time.
He is at least keeping Snoot on 3 bases.
That's another big stim. He's throwing the corrosive biles forward. He gets the medevacs in the back, but some of these Ravagers are left terribly exposed. Money fungles all over the bio. The corrosive bile hits everything as well. Paul's army drops below 100. Supply of phenomenal engagement for Snoot. Good God.
Wow, and he gets 1 more medevac as well. That actually had a couple of units in it. And
this is all he needs. He's going to pick up another map in this series. He just has to punch that ticket in.
Yep, 192 supply against 82. He's going to push these units away from Polt, and he's running into the natural, maybe pick up a couple of SCVs. But this was a really good game by Snoot. He was much sharper. He knew exactly what was going on. He didn't overdrone. He had enough units, and that's it.
GG! Snoot takes a map back, and we are at a 2-3 score.
Well, Maybe. It depends on his control.
Some of Snoot's army is getting pulled out, so Krosaba's going to drop, not really hitting anything. That fourth base under a lot of pressure. A lot of high energy queens are going to get picked off here. Throws the transfers in the extractor, but some drones are going to fall too at the same time. Snoot, no, don't counter. Pull back. He needed to have this army back home a lot earlier. No, some of it's getting caught by the army. He didn't pull all of it away.
No, this is the exact same thing. Bolt is doing it again. He did it against Nurcho. Doesn't have a great early game. Counterattacks, gets the fourth base. Snoot left units behind, but he didn't leave enough behind. And suddenly this game has turned around. Bolt is looking very good right now. If Snoot engages, he has to make really sure. Upgrades finish up, by the way. 2-2 is ready.
He throws the infested Terranex to soak up the siege tank attacks, but as he moves forward, he's hitting from all sides, going in from the north and the west, but the siege tanks are being microed back beautifully by these medevacs, and there is such a far line to fall back on. But Snoot seems to have barely pushed, pulled back. Can he finish it up is the big question. He gets a lot of damage, but some of the tanks do manage to be
Bolt's
saved.
going to try to take a fourth base. Big engagement in the middle of the map. There are Liberators over here as well. Corrosive Balls. He's stepping in a Liberation zone. Pongo is good, though.
Yeah, I mean, he gets rid of one of the Liberators, but there's still another one raining freedom down upon this army. Picks off the next one, and Pult and Snoot still very close in supply, but more Liberators on the way, more siege tanks on the way.
He's like, hey, you know, you had a big army before. Why are you not trying anything? Why are you counterattacking? Are you trying to buy time? Well, I'm not going to give you that time, and I think that Bolt is really going to try to push the issue here.
Yeah, Snoot just needs a little more time, gets a decent fungal on the medevacs, holding the tanks in the air. They go down as Snoot presses Pult back. He doesn't need to attack into this. He just needs a little more time to get those Broodlords out.
So this is a very, very, very juicy pick-off for Bolt. He's not just getting the hatchery, he's getting all of these drones as well. Phenomenal drop here by Bolt. That's exactly what he needed to do.
And those Broodlords are on the south side. They take so long to come up and help deal with this army. Some of these Roaches and Ravagers completely caught out. A little bit of move command action going on here. And this chunk of Snoot's army will die suddenly. Seem to be falling apart right now, trying to deal with this army.
Couple fungos from the high ground maybe, but good splits there by Bolt. I didn't know you could split with tanks, but he's doing it, Nate. To be maxed out. Even 180 high supply would be good, you know, 180, 175 is acceptable, but you can't fight with 146 against 200. That's just a losing fight. Against the Broodlords.
He's gonna just force it all right here.
All right, I mean, Bolt just lose a lot of units. Bolt is maxed out, but that is not his entire army. The Broodlords are very far out of position, though. This is a real problem for Snoot.
Yeah, Pult's just done a great job of abusing the immobility of those Broodlords. As powerful as they are, as how much range they have.
The Greatest
He can't lose
Spire.
his tech. The Greater Spire, it will go down. He can get the Infestation Pit. No more Infestors. He can get the Hive. And once that's gone, that's it. There's no more tech at all.
I mean, a couple fungus go down. Parasitic Bomb being dropped over here as well. I mean, Snoot may get the Vikings here, and that's pretty cool, but he's losing everything in his main base. He will not be able to produce any units at all.
And now the Broodlords are just going to fight against the Marines. He's gotten underneath them. Are all going down. No more Broodlords. For Snoot, his army has been completely crushed. There is zero tech on the map. He can't build anything but drones.
I think that this is going to be it. He is building drones, though, but Bolt is very close to securing his 4th WCS championship, and that is absolutely insane. Fungos will go down. Corrosive Balls do a lot of damage, but Snoot just doesn't really have all that much left.
Pult has defeated Snoot. He's up 100 supply. He's crushed through the forces, and back home he's building 8 Liberators at a time with more tanks, more Marines, and more bases. There's just lock things down. The Marines come out here and catch a few of these Ravagers. They're all dead. GG. Pult secures his championship title 4-2.
$35,000 will go to this man again. He did it last year in Season 1, and he's doing it again. I mean, what else is that to say? Absolutely phenomenal TVZ by Pult throughout this entire tournament, and a really cool finals.
Just an absolutely amazing display of skill from both sides. Pult breaking out the old builds, working with the new units, and really throwing everybody in this tournament for a loop, not playing his normal predictable style.
Yeah, how cool was it?